Elite Raids. How was the day? What can we look forward to in the future? Were there any bugs? Let's talk about it and see if it's something Niantic should keep. Let's get into it. What's up, everybody? How you doing? Hope you're having a fantastic day. If you aren't subscribed already, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. And let's talk about Elite Raids. How was Elite Raid Day? Well, I think it was a decent idea. The thing is we only had a 24-hour notice. It was right after Litwick Community Day, which was probably exhausting Community Day for most, considering it's only 3 hours now. And it was a very farmable Community Day Pokemon, a very good one. It was important, so I don't think it was a good thing as far as that goes. Having a mythical like Hoopa was a pretty big deal. Hoopa Unbound, and we're going to get into that in just a second, one of the best psychic attackers in Pokemon Go, just barely under Mewtwo. So it was pretty important to have that Pokemon, as I pick up my cat here, have that Pokemon in Pokemon Go, and to do an Elite Raids was pretty interesting. Now, what were some of the issues? As you guys have seen, there's some gameplay on the right hand side of the screen. It was very buggy, and it didn't always work all the time. Especially the spawns, the features. The features that they had didn't work very well. The spawns never worked for me at all, and I saw a lot of reports where that was the case as well. The spawns never worked, never saw any legendaries, anything of that nature. The screen was glitching out, things like that. And then we even had a raid where we beat it, but it just glitched. So we had to back out, wait for the raid timer to completely go down, go back in to defeat it a second time. And it was like that for everyone. So there's some fixing that needs to be happen there, because I feel like Niantic rushed this out to get it out there to have people spend moolah towards the game. Now, I don't think this is the right way to implement it, and here's why. I think EX raids need to come back. We've been in a pandemic. I guess you could say it's over, whatever, it doesn't matter. The last 2 years, we've been playing indoors, remote raids, yada yada yada. No planning whatsoever of in-person raiding. And I don't know about you guys, but the lack of knowledge of how to do proper raid trains and whatnot in person with a community, the lack of that was exacerbated so much during this time. And especially since we have raids at 11, 2, and 5. That was a terrible idea. Terrible idea. People have lives, they have groceries to get, they have houses to clean, they have grown-up things to do. You guys know what I'm talking about. And to put that out at specific times only for 30 minutes was a terrible idea. But I digress. Back in my hometown, doing, in-person raid trains, it was a really good community, and they have their stuff together. Now that I've lived where I live now for a little over a year, and seeing how they coordinate with raids, and it was inside Telegram, for example, it was awful. Many a times we show up to a raid as soon as after we beat one, and the first person that's there is already in the raid timer, and there'd be like 40 seconds left. There was a super strong lack of communication, guidance, direction, however you want to say it, and leadership. And you guys have probably saw that issue as well as you were raiding the Elite Raids. Because guys, it's been 2 years. Either the people who are leading that stuff have never done it before, the people who used to lead that stuff probably don't even play the game anymore or don't care anymore. So that's another thing. There's a lot of new players that really don't know how to do this type of raiding, and it showed disastrously. I don't know, I just made that word up, but it showed so much how bad people are at leading in-person raids that are new, and especially those that are new that don't understand how this works either. So you gotta remember, there's a lot of new players. There's probably a lot of people trying to do things that they've never done before, and this just showed an issue, and probably just an issue why remote raids should not have been left out. You should have been able to do remote people in with remote raids. Niantic, that's how you make the most money anyway, let's be honest. So let's talk about Hoopa now, because you guys want to talk about Hoopa. So let's talk about Hoopa now, because it is very important. So Hoopa's main comparison Pokemon is Mewtwo. Now, you're probably like, why are you putting confusion over Psycho Cut? Well, Psycho Cut is what we all use because Mewtwo's viable in Master League, and Psycho Cut's the move to do it. But believe it or not, Confusion Psystrike is the better DPS and TDO output for Mewtwo, not Psycho Cut. Now don't fret, don't change your Mewtwo that has Psycho Cut to Confusion, because that's just annoying, especially when Psycho Cut is the better move in PvP. So just keep it. It's not that big of a difference because the DPS is over 18 anyway. But let's look at Hoopa Unbound for a second. How well do you think, or how close do you think Hoopa Unbound is going to be to Mewtwo? Is it going to be better? Is it going to be worse? Is it going to be extremely worse? Is it going to be close? Take your guess. Let's find out. 18-18, ladies and gentlemen. Mewtwo and Hoopa are dang near the same. Now, the total output overall is lower, but that's okay. This just goes to show and cements that Hoopa Unbound guarantees a spot on your Psychic team. Now, I'm not going to compare this to Mega Pokemon because they're not permanent, guys. They're not permanent Pokemon. We're talking about Pokemon that are permanent. You always have them. You can always use them. Megas only last 8 hours, so it is silly to compare these Pokemon to their Mega counterparts or other Mega counterparts for that matter, because they're simply not permanent. So yeah, Hoopa Unbound needs to be on your team, and the reason why is because the attack stat's 311, ladies and gentlemen. 311, 191 defense, 173 stamina. And stamina is probably why Hoopa can't outlast Mewtwo, because of the stamina. But one thing's for sure is Hoopa does have access to Astonish and Shadow Ball, which is not bad because it's got 311 attack stat. We use Mewtwo with Shadow Ball to be a to be a ghost type attacker in raid sometimes because there's a 300 attack stat. So the same thing applies here. The one thing that's beneficial with Hoopa is it like quad resists Psychic, 24.4%. So if there is a Psychic Pokemon, i.e., you know, we're talking about Mewtwo here. So Hoopa would be fantastic in raids against Mewtwo, because Mewtwo's always a good Pokemon to raid, right? To get XL candies, blah, 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 blah. But let's go ahead and actually look at how good Hoopa Unbound really is. And let's just go ahead and use Chandelure, for example, because we just recently had a Kuya Day for it. It's pretty close. It's pretty close. That's not bad at all. That's not bad at all. That's pretty close. So Hoopa deserves to be on your Ghost type team if you're going to go up against Pokemon that are Psychic type. So another good Psychic type for Hoopa would be like Cresselia, for example. I'm not sure if there's any other actual raid bosses that you could... Megalodios, Megas, yeah, you could say that. Let's just see. Mewtwo, Lunala, that actually, wow, it would be quad weak to Ghost, so Lunala would be one. Solgaleo, any Pokemon that has Psychic moves would be fantastic for Hoopa Unbound. It would be a priority to use Hoopa because of that quad resistance to Psychic. And finally, let's talk about what we can expect for Elite Raids in the future. Well, based off of what we know, it looks like Niantic's kind of going backwards. Hoopa's pretty new, in Pokemon like Zarude is pretty new too. So maybe Niantic will go in reverse as far as adding mythicals to the Elite Raid pools. Now again, I've mentioned that I think EX Raid should come back so it combats all the issues with raiding in person with new people, blah 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 blah. But if they're going to do this, this is at least a positive, but there needs to be a better way to raid these Pokemon instead of the Elite Raid system only giving us 30 minutes, because you got to admit, not only Hoopa, but Zarude, we don't have a lot of XO candies. We might not even have good IVs. We don't have candies in general. So I think the future is bright as far as this implementation goes. There's just a lot of things that need to change and need to be fixed. But Pokemon like Zarude, Pokemon like Mew, for example, which would be a huge one, and its shiny is already released. So I think this going forward is going to be fantastic for farming mythicals. They just need to do some tweaks and some changes to make it more accessible for everybody and also make it a lot easier as well. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below about the Elite Raid Day. Was it a success for you? Was it a disaster? What do you think about the 3 time zone split? What do you think about the bugs, the glitches, how their features didn't work for most of us. What do you think about your local community trying to do raid trains? Now, I know some of you guys will have good local communities and it worked well, but I know a lot of you think the same way I did, and it was a complete disaster. There was a lack of communication, a lack of compassion, waiting for people to go in. There was a lack of just overall didn't know what they were doing for the most part, but trying to lead it anyway. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Do you think EX raids should come back? I think so. That way the communication can be thrown out the window and you just meet at a designated time and you don't have to worry about missing a raid. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Smash the like button and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Be a part of the Fitz City fam. It's your boy Fitz City. I'm signing off. See you guys in the next Pokemon Go video.